So hello, welcome back to the third part of the training. Today we are going to talk about the designing of training program. Okay, now before starting into the class, all the topics that we are going to discuss in today's class are mentioned here for your reference. Now let's get into the topic. See, till now we have covered two classes for training, right? In the first part, we just talked about the basic introduction of training, what are the different types of training, and the basic introduction of the training framework. Now, in the second part of the training, we have talked about the first phase in training framework. That means training needs analysis. We talked about the different aspects of training needs analysis. Now, we talked in the previous class, that is in the class of training needs analysis, telling that by the end of training needs analysis, you will be getting answers to two questions. Is training really the solution to my problem? And the basic objectives that you have to fulfill. Now, we are moving to the second phase of this training framework, which is designing of the training program. Let us assume that there is this particular city, and in that city there are so many different companies who are involved in stitching. Okay, stitching of, for example, shirts. So you work in, this is an example, you work in one of those companies who are involved into stitching as a training head. Okay, this is the basic example. Now, so 1 year has completed and your top management in your company has taken out the results of that particular year about about the performance of your company. So they came to the conclusion that your company is in second position in terms of sales and your competitor company is in first position in terms of sales. So the company found out that the production and all everything is running fine. So they called you, you are the training head, right? They called you and told you that, look Mr. Let us example, your name is Potato. Look, Mr. Potato, see, our company is in the second position when it comes to sales and the competitor company is in first position when it comes to sales, and everything, each and everything related to the machinery production, everything is going fine. Please go and check if there is any scope of improvement or any problem related to the workers, employees and all. So what you do, you go into your company and you start doing this this training needs analysis, or basically the needs analysis. Now you have conducted this needs analysis, right? So in needs analysis, what we told that there will be three different levels. That means you will be doing your analysis in basically three different levels. The first one is organizational level, second one is task level, third one is individual level. So after doing this training needs analysis in your company, or basically after doing this needs analysis in your company, you came to know that in the entire company, after the results in the entire company, the stitching department, there is a problem in the stitching department. So what you did, you went into the stitching department and you took out the basic expected requirements of to perform the job in that particular stitching department, and you came to know that okay, these are the these are the basic standards, or these are the basic requirements of all the jobs in this particular stitching department. Next, what you did in individual analysis, you took out the actual performance levels of all the employees and then you compared. Now after this particular needs analysis, you came to the conclusion telling that, see, in the competitors company, each and every employee is stitching 50 shirts per day. In our company, all of our employees are stitching only 30 shirts per day. So see, the basic skills competencies of all the employees in both the companies are almost same, but in the competitor company they are actually stitching 50 shirts per day, that is per person. That means each employee in the competitor company is stitching 50 shirts per day. In our company, each employee is stitching only 30 shirts per day. Now what you did, you have this gap, right? Now you thought that okay, training will be enough in order to fill this gap. Now you got your basic objective, right? Here, what is the basic objective? See, our competitor companies employees are stitching 50 shirts per day and our employees are stitching only 30 shirts per day. First of all, we need to cover this gap and we need to exceed this gap in order to gain our first position in the market. That means competitors 50, ours is 30. Now you can't just maintain, you can't just fill in the gap and balance both of them. You need to stay ahead of your competition, right? So here basically you are formulating your objectives. That means by the end of the first step, that is by the end of training needs analysis, you came to you came to conclude telling that these are my particular objectives. That means my employees in my company should be able to produce more than 50 shirts, or should be able to stitch more than 50 shirts per person. These are your basic objective, right? Now you have to design a training program. That means you have to basically create an entire program by the end of which your employees will be able to meet that particular objectives of crossing more than 50 shirts per day. Now you get into the designing part. That means by the end of training needs analysis, you get your objectives or particular goals, right? Now you, in order to reach that particular goals, you design a particular program, that is this video, or that is the topic that we are going to talk today, that is designing of a particular training program in order to achieve the organizational goals or the basic objectives that you have gotten from the first step, that is training needs analysis. So now let's start the class, the theory part. So the same unit, that is fourth unit training. In this training, we are talking the third part today, which is designing a training program. That is the second phase in training framework. Okay. Now, the basic idea here is to facilitate learning through a program. So we should ensure certain features are given importance while designing the training program. Okay. So here basically we are telling that, see, the basic reason or the basic purpose of designing this particular training program is to ensure particular learning in the employees, or what do we basically mean by the term learning? Change in the behavior, permanent change in the behavior is termed as learning. So we are telling that, see, by designing this particular training program, we are actually planning to change the employee behavior, or we are actually trying to change the employee in terms, that might be in terms of skills, in terms of knowledge, in terms of productivity, whatever it is. But basically here we are intending to create a particular learning in the employees. Okay, right? Now here we are also telling that in this point, see, while designing a particular training program in order to reach the organizational objectives, or in order to satisfy or fulfill the objectives that you have got from the training needs analysis, there are certain things for which you have to give importance. Now what are all those different things we are going to talk now. Okay, now they are the important things that we have to, the important things that we have to keep in mind while designing this training program are clearly defined objectives. That is, employees should know why they should learn. See, we have already talked about this in the previous class. Always remember, not only for training needs analysis, for designing, for implementing, for evaluating also, see, a particular set of objectives or a particular set of goals should be first created, then only based on them only you have to continue with this training procedure. That means you have to have particular objectives, then only you should implement, or design, or basically evaluate this training program. Because if you don't have any goals, then what is the purpose of you for giving this training and all? So that is the importance of this particular objectives. So here the first and foremost important thing that you have to consider while designing a training program is clearly defined objectives. That is, the employees should know why they should learn. See, the organization obviously knows why you are designing, implementing, or evaluating this training program, because organization has certain goals that it has to be, that it should fulfill in order to in order to increase its efficiency, or in order to increase its effectiveness, or in order to increase its performance or productivity, whatever it is. Organization has its own reasons, and we are also telling that, see, this is from organization's point of view. You also have to think from the employees point of view. That means you also have to make sure the employees know why they are learning. You can't just go to employees and tell that from today onwards you are training, don't ask me why, just sit in the training program, we'll complete the program, just leave after the training program. No, you can't do that. You have to you have to make sure the employee also knows why he is learning this, because then only he will be able to successfully connect with the program. Okay, now second important thing that you have to consider while designing this training program is proper arrangement and coordination. Okay, now this coordination plays a very important role when we will stop when we will talk about the next phase in this entire training framework, that is implementation. But coordination also plays an important role here. Okay, next, time and opportunities for practice. This is also one of the most underrated thing that most of the people ignore. See, most of the people, most of the organizations, what they do, okay, employees need training, we will provide them with training. That means, for example, if organization chooses this particular lecture method, that means if, for example, organization thought that, okay, we will give a lecture or we'll give a seminar, and in using that we will train these employees. So what basically they'll do, they'll tell that, okay, on a particular day, on a particular Sunday or a particular Monday, everyone come to the office, we will have a lecture method. A senior most person will come there, he will he'll keep on speak for 3 hours, 4 hours. Once the 3 hours or 4 hours is completed, he'll be telling that, okay, training period is complete, I have given you this much knowledge, now you can leave and go and continue with your work. Now we are basically telling that, see, training should not only involve a one-way communication, training should also involve something called as time and opportunities for learning and opportunities for practice. Okay, now the next thing, that the next important consideration that we have to keep in mind while designing this training program is relevant and meaningful content. Okay, relevant and meaningful content. See, if you want to train your employees in order to fulfill in order to fulfill the goal of enabling each and every employee to produce 50 shirts per day or stitch 50 shirts per day. You can't give them training which teaches them how to stitch pants, because here your basic target is enabling your employees to stitch more shirts. So your training program also should be in that line. You can't bring a training program which is completely irrelevant with your objectives and all. So that is what we are telling in this point. The next thing is methods should be properly selected. See, there are so many different methods for training that we will be learning in the next part, which is methods of training. And see, you can't just tell that, okay, I have like 20 to 30 different methods that I will choose whatever I want. No, you always have to choose methods based on certain criteria. That means based on your company's feasibility, based on which methods are feasible in order to achieve this training program, or which methods are costly, or which methods are cheap when compared to others, or which methods can you afford, which methods do you think are suitable in order to obtain or in order to achieve the objectives of this training program. In this way you have to think about different aspects without before selecting a particular training method. That is what we are actually telling here. Next, you should also give importance to the feedback, and you should also make sure that the program is not entirely theoretical. See, this is what we were talking in the previous example, where you should always make sure that a particular training program or a particular this particular program should not always be theoretical. That means it should also involve some practicality in natures, because in the previous class we have learned that different methods are related to different retaining capacities of the employees. So you should always make sure that the program is not entirely theoretical and it also involves practicality in nature. Okay, right? Now, it should be a combination of observation and experience. Okay, this is this point. Next important thing that you have to keep in mind while designing this particular training program is careful selection of trainers. Now, this is one of the most important thing. See, basically when you are providing training program, you do need certain trainers, right? Now, everything depends on these trainers. Like every step in this this particular training framework is important, but selecting trainers is one of the most important step. Because why? Even though you have planned your entire training, this particular program, in a very strict or very effective or a very efficient manner, if the person who is training these employees is not competent enough or not sufficient enough in order to help the employees to reach the particular objectives, then what is the use? For example, if you want to train your employees in order to stitch like 50 shirts per day. Now, if you bring a trainer who doesn't have proper clarity on stitching the shirts, now what is the use, right? So you should always be careful in selecting the particular trainers. You should also consider different factors that we will be discussing in the next part, like is the trainer compatible, uh, is the trainer is the trainer already in that particular field, or he particularly dedicated towards training, or he just a senior person whom you have to bring in and give him training first, so that he can furtherly train the employees. In this way there are so many different considerations while selecting the trainer. Here we are actually telling that, see, selection of trainers is also one of the most important things that you have to keep in mind while designing a particular training program. So these are the basic things that you have to give importance while designing a training program, right? Now let's move on to the next thing. Now next we will be talking about the basic considerations in designing a training program. See, in the previous topic what we talked that, see, designing a training program involves so many different things. So there are certain areas where you have to keep your brain. That means there are certain areas where you need to focus, or where your focus should be of high priority, or there are certain things which should be on your important list. In this way we have discussed all these things, right? Now we are going to talk about the considerations in designing a training program, or in simple terms, what are the different things that you do while you are designing a training program, or what are the different things that you have to do while you are designing a training program. These are basically the considerations in designing program, or the different things that are involved in designing a training program. Now let's see what are the different things that are involved while you are designing a training program. Okay, now see, the considerations in designing a training program, or basically the different things that you do in order to design a training program, or basically the different activities that are involved while you are designing a particular training program. Okay, now the first and foremost thing is needs assessment and learning objectives. That is basically, see, before you directly start designing a particular training program, you should be clear about your objectives. In our particular example that we have talked in the starting of this class, competitors employee, per employee they are stitching 50 shirts per day. Our employees are stitching only 30 shirts per day. So we thought that okay, we think that training will help our employees to increase from 30 to more than 50. So here we have to set a specific target telling that okay, by the end of the training program our employees should be capable of of stitching like 70 shirts per day instead of 30 which they are actually producing previously. So in this way you have to first start with your objectives, and the objective should always be specific. You can't just tell that previously my employees only stitch 30 shirts per day. Now after the training program they should be capable of stitching more than 30 shirts per day. You have to be specific. Okay, now this part of the framework development asks you to consider what kind of training is needed in your organization. Once you have determined the training needs, you can set learning objectives to measure the end of the training. Okay, so basically we are telling that here everything is related to objectives at first. That means the first and foremost thing is you start with the objectives. Okay, now the second thing that we do in this particular designing of training program is considering the learning styles. Now making sure to teach to a variety of learning styles is important to development of training programs. Now, what do you mean by learning styles? See, there are basically three different types of learning styles. Listen carefully. We don't have, the theory part here. I'm just giving you so that you could get this in your brain. There are basically three types of learning styles. That means the employees or basically anyone learns in basically three different styles. In simple words, some kind of people learn visually. That means some kind of people grasp matters easily or more when compared to normal situations when they are provided with different images or different videos or different clips. This is one type. This is considered as one of the learning styles. There is this second kind of people who grasp more or who are more efficient when they are taught using audio like lectures and all. Okay, now this is second type. There are third kind of people who learn or who grasp things quickly when you use experience or when you involve them in certain experiences. These are third kind of people. Now the first kind of people are there, like the first kind of learning style is actually called as visual learning style. That means in this particular style of learning, what employees do is employees basically learn more when they are provided with visual learning. That means when you use images, when you use clips, when you use videos, when you use all these things, if the employee is able to grasp more, that means the employee learning style is visual. Okay, in the second case, when the employee is able to grasp more, or when basically the employee uses the style of learning using audios, or basically voice, then that is called as audio learning style. In the third set of, we talked about the third set of learning, right, where the style of learning where the employee learns using experiences, or the employee is efficient in learning when you use a basic experience. That is called as kinematic learning style. So basically, see, this is not a very important topic. This is just for your general understanding. Okay, these are basically three learning styles. And why are we talking about this example and explanation? Because see, in this point we are telling that we should also consider the learning styles. For example, you are about to train like 30 people. Okay, now if you come to know that all of those 30 people are basically adapted, or they are more efficient when you use visual learning style, then you should basically focus on images or presentations or clips or videos and all. In reality, if we talk, is it possible that all the employees in your organization follow only one learning style? No. So basically what organizations do is basically organizations mix up, or in most of the cases use all the three different learning styles simultaneously. That means they provide this training program using audios, videos, visuals, clips, and providing employees with experience and all. So basically we are just telling you that learning styles are basically three types. One learn using audios, one learn using videos, and one learn using experiences. And you should also consider that in your training program while or when you are about to train a set of people or a set of employees, right? So next, we also talk about the methods. That means what are the different methods that we use in order to train the employees. Now see, there are so many different training methods that we are going to talk in the next unit. While you are designing the training program, you tell that okay, this particular training program can be given using any on the job method. On the job method you will be having so many different kinds of methods, sub methods. In particular off the job methods, you will again be having so many different kinds of methods within it. The next consideration or the next thing that we do while designing the training program is considering the budget, like how much money do you have to spend on this training and all. So the next important consideration or the next task or the next thing that we do in the process of designing this training program is considering the trainers who is going to train. We have talked about this also in the previous thing, right? In the starting, in the first topic, the previous topic, like what are the important things that you have to focus on while designing a training program, like who are the trainers and all. Here also the same, who is going to train, what is his expertise, what are his capabilities, what is his subject matter, what is his effectiveness, etc. In this way we also consider this thing. Next, we also plan the audience or the trainees, or basically who, to whom are you going to provide this training. This audience and trainees basically we get from training needs analysis. See, in training needs analysis we have this step of individual analysis and person analysis, right? Where we talk that, see, we will be comparing the required standards and the actual standards, and whoever lacks, or whoever falls behind, or whoever has these gaps should be trained or should be concentrated on, right? So in this way we also have to focus on, or we also have to choose the audience or the trainees or the people or the employee to whom you have to give training for. Okay, so this is this step. Like, who will be the part of this training? Do we have a mix of roles such as accounting people and marketing people? Now, what are the job responsibilities of these individuals, and how can you make the training relevant to these individual jobs? So basically, see, here we are basically talking the different concentration or the different tasks that you do in order to design a training program, right? Now, see, this is what we are actually talking in this point is, see, if only single job people are involved, your this entire designing process will be in one way. For example, if only you have to provide training to marketing people of the same level, your job, this designing of this training program will be in one way. Or if your training involves training different jobs, like marketing people, accounting people, operation people, sales people, in this way, then you have your design, your this particular designing of the training program also changes, right? So you have to tell that you have to choose your audience and trainees, that's the first thing. And you also have to see if all the trainees or the audience that have to be trained belong to the same same field or the different field, because based on that also our entire designing of this training program has an impact, right? Now next, the content. That means basically what you want to teach. See, basically in the previous example only, competitors 50 shirts per employee per day they are stitching. In our company, each and every employee 30 shirts per day stitching. Now your basic aim is to go beyond this 50 and reach like 70 shirts, your basic target or your basic objective that your company has set. Now you have to prepare a particular course material, like in what all different aspects are you going to train your employee, in what are different subjects are you, or what are the different skills that you are going to provide to your employee in this particular training program and all. So in this way you have to also concentrate on content. That means what are you basically doing there. Okay, that is content. Like, what needs to be taught, how will you sequence the information. This is basically when we talk about the content. Now apart from content, we also have materials, that means reading materials, etc., just for reference basis and all. Now the next thing that we do while designing this training program is to also consider the timeliness. In when we are talking about time, we have two different scenarios here. One, how much time will it take to design this training program? For example, is there any time limit within which we have to design this particular training program? See, in certain situations, or in certain very heavily competitive markets or very heavily competitive environments, top management comes to this particular responsible people and tells that, see, design a training program in 2 days, design a training program in 1 month. In this way they'll give a time span. So when we are talking about this particular timeliness matter, we have to consider, that is the first scenario, that is the first thing that we have to consider. Is there any time limit for designing this training program? The second thing is there any time limit for this entire program? Like, should you complete your training program, or should the employees complete this particular training within 30 days, or can you give the training to the employees the whole year? In this way you have to consider time periods also in these different scenarios. Okay, that is the one thing that you do in this particular designing of training program. The next thing is communication. Now you have decided that, okay, you are going to provide training to the employees. Now how do the employees know that there is this particular training program in our organization, or how do the employees know that, see, if the company is doing these efforts for us, or if we feel that we lack in particular skills, we can actually go and attend this training program. How do you provide that knowledge to the employees is what we should also consider while designing the training program. So communication means how will the employees know the training is available to them. Okay, that is basically communication. And the other thing is measuring the effectiveness of training. The other consideration, and one of the important consideration that you also have to do, or you also have to give importance to all that, or you also have to prioritize is, while designing the training program only, you should also set particular, or you should also create a particular evaluation criteria, so that in order to know if this training program actually worked or not, you use that criteria. Okay, so in this way, these are the basic things, or the basic steps we follow, or the basic basic tasks, or basic activities that we perform while designing the training program. Okay, now once each and everything is completed, or once you have worked on each and every aspect of this, you basically create a a checklist type of thing, just for your just for your reference and all. That means basically what all you got here, you actually prepare a draft model, and that draft model looks like this. See, it actually looks like this. You prepare a small draft telling that this is the model design document template. That means our entire training program, in when summarized into a single single sheet of paper, is this. That means in this you will mention all the things that you have done in your design, or all the things that your training program basically involves. Like you keep the heading of scope of the program, and then you have subheadings telling like the goals. Here you will fill in the goals. Here you will fill in the audience, that means who all are to be trained. Here you fill in the design time. Here you fill in the length of the course, is it 3 months course or 6 months course and all. Next, you will again take a new column telling that everything related to delivery, and within that column you will be having what is the content that is that is about to be delivered. What are the different methods that are used in order to deliver this training program. What is the training time. Okay, next you will be having objective. What are the basic objectives of this training program. You will be having resources, like if you want any materials, where do you refer, or what are the different materials that we provide you, or who is involved, who are the trainers and all. The topical outline, the administration and evaluation. In this way, once you have completed the basic all the information collection, planning, and each and everything related to the designing of this training program, you make a model design document template. So this is basically the design part. See what we have talked till now. We talked that, see, basically we completed the training needs analysis. Based on that, we got our objectives and all. So in order to fulfill that particular objectives, we need to design a particular program, so that once all the employees attend the program, or through this program we make sure our employees reach our particular objectives, right? So this in design we told that, see, there are so many things that you have to keep in mind while doing this designing program. In that way, we talked about all the important things that we have to keep in mind while we are talking about, or while we are actually performing this designing of training program. Next, we talked that, see, these are there are so many different things that you do while designing this particular training program, like maintaining your specific objectives, or choosing your audience, your trainees, choosing your trainers who is training, choosing your different methods. We also talked that, see, why in some sources you will be having methods both in designing phase as well as in implementation stage, and why in some methods, or why in some sources you will be having the entire information about the methods in only design phase, and when you go to the implementation phase, they'll simply tell you that, okay, you have to implement whatever you have planned in the design phase. So we also talked that, right? What is the reason for that? Now we also talked that, see, this is the basic template. Once you have completed this design thing, or once you have got, or once you have prepared the entire plan for this design thing, or once you have prepared the entire information that that is required for basically this design thing, you create a draft template telling that, okay, this sheet or this particular template is what a training, the entire training program is. So this is basically the design part. Next, we have we have talked about training needs analysis, finding out the needs and all, finding the training needs in a company. Then based on the training needs, we have talked about how to design a particular program, or what are the different things that you do in order to design a program. The next part we will be talking about what are the different methods of training. That means what are the different methods in which training can actually be provided. Okay, so we'll continue in the next part. Thank you.